about 2,000 years before Christ. A king named Nimrod reigned in Mesopotamia, and he was a man who set his will against that of God. He proclaimed himself God, therefore demanding worship from his subjects. So powerful was this king that his mother was described as a goddess of wisdom, making him a demigod. Nimrod inherited his human nature from his father, who was also a king, and his divine nature from his mother, who was also a king, and his divine nature from his mother. The king was feared amongst his people. Whatever he said or wanted was law. For example, at the end of every wedding ceremony, the king had to consummate the marriage with the bride before her groom. This god king was very arrogant and thought himself indestructible until he encountered Abraham. Abraham was brought to the front of Nimrod. He argued that God Almighty in heaven, who created both the heavens and the earth, gives life and causes death. But Nimrod disagreed and assigned these attributes to himself.
I give life, and I can take life.
He goes ahead to bring two people into his palace and tells his servants to kill one and spare one. Abraham refutes him by stating that God brings the sun up from the east, and he asks the king to bring it from the west. The king became perplexed and angered. This causes Nimrod to throw Abraham into a fire, but again, Abraham prevails because of God's mercy and protection. This causes the king to exile him, since he could do nothing to harm him. This story is significant to us here at the Syncretic Universe because it teaches a lesson we want to communicate. In the modern world, there are a lot of evil forces that want to subdue man. So many of these dark forces proclaim themselves as gods and therefore expect a form of worship. We see this in the corporate world, music industry, and sports organizations. These forces can only be conquered by the Spirit of God. Abraham had the Spirit of God with him. That was why he prevailed. This goes to you too. No matter where you find yourself, oppressed by a boss, oppressed by a demon, subdued by your enemies, God will always prevail.